Hi, good evening everybody, and welcome to the Cabinet Procurement and Insourcing Committee. Would we please elect a chair for this evening in Councillor Chapman's absence?
I nominate Councillor Brown as chair.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. So I'd like to welcome you to the meeting, and just to remind you that this meeting will be live streamed. Then I'm going to hand over to Jessica, who will read the protocol. So just to let you know that the meeting is now live streamed, and now I will hand over to Jessica to read the protocol.
Thank you. Mara, can we please confirm that we're live streamed?
I just, yeah, we're live.
Thank you very much.
Please feedback.
If everyone can hear us.
Yeah.
Could you please confirm if you can hear us okay on the recording?
Yes, we can hear you. It's quite fuzzy though.
Okay, thank you. Please do let us know if you have any issues and you can't hear us clearly. I'm just going to read the protocols for the meeting. Please only speak to when invited to by the chair. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand and direct all communications via the chair. Please ensure that your mics are muted when you are not speaking. If you are referring to a specific page or picture in a report, please refer to the page number. If you are having technical difficulties, please use the chat function in Google Meet to alert the meeting. Please do not use the chat function for putting formal questions to the committee or to make other comments. Any persistent disruptive behaviour will result in removal from the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Jessica. So move on to the agenda items now. So item 1 on the agenda, we have apologies from Councillor Chapman, obviously no others. 2, urgent business. I've not been advised on any urgent business. Item 3 on the agenda. Do members have any declarations of interest?
No, Chair.
Thank you. Go on to item 4 on the agenda. Notice of intention to conduct business in private. Any representation received and response to any such representation. I've received none. Item 5 is questions, invitations, petitions. I've received none this evening. So item 6 on the agenda, unrestricted meetings of the Cabinet Procurement and Insourcing Committee held on the 8th of November 2021. Do any colleagues have any comments or queries? No. Okay. Can members agree those minutes? Please agree. Okay. So I would like to welcome Maria for item 7 on the agenda, the contract for young people supported accommodation pathway. Good evening, Maria. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you very much. I'm here to present the contract award for the Young People Supported Accommodation Pathway. This service will provide supported accommodation for looked after children, care leavers and single homeless young people aged 16 to 21 from Hackney. This service has been redesigned and recommissioned with a strong focus on improving outcomes for our young people and improving the quality of supported accommodation we offer for those young people who need it most. Psychologically informed environments have been an integral part of the specification, which is a proven methodology to improve outcomes for our young people. The previous service was in place for over 5 years, and we have seen a significant change in the needs of our young people, with more complex support needs evolving that needed to be addressed. The service specification was a joint piece of work with Adult Social Care and our Children in Care Council that looked at the needs of our young people, and we have created a service that will continue to meet our sufficiency needs in the future. We've created 88 places for young people, including a significant increase in the number of affordable supported accommodation options for young people who are working, which will enable for our care leavers to realise their aspirations. This procurement has been very challenging. We've experienced significant delays due to COVID-19 and the additional impact of the cyber attack. Members should note that there have been several lots that have not been able to be awarded in this procurement, which I have addressed in the report. Lot 1, which is the assessment centre, Our recommendation is that we do not re-procure this service, as children and families' needs over the last 18 months and use for the service have changed. And those young people that would need this service would be able to access supported accommodation for the rest of the pathway. We've also not been able to award Lot 4, which is our young parent service, which is a current service that's being delivered. So following the contract award, we'll go back to the providers that withdrew, have a conversation about what needs to change, whether there can be changes to the specification or the financial element to gain a better understanding of why the service was not awarded. And then commissioners will plan how to re-procure the service, as we're absolutely committed to ensuring that we have supported accommodation for our vulnerable young parents. The service is going to support our local economy by providing jobs for local people, and all the successful providers have evidenced local recruitment strategies and several sustainability improvements from the new service. We've also managed to keep all of our current properties in borough and gained more accommodation than the previous service, which, given the length of the contract being 7 years, provides young people with stability as well as the local community. Even though not all of the lots were awarded, due to the increased costs for spot purchasing provision, specifically with the children and family service over the last 12 to 18 months, the rates we have secured for the service are incredibly competitive and would achieve in the region of £7 million savings over the next 7 years. These are the costs that, if we did not re-procure or award the service, we expect as additional budgetary pressure for the children and family service. Thank you very much. I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Do you colleagues have any questions? I have a few. Councillor Kennedy, I'll take you first.
Thank you very much. Yes, so I've got two questions. They all centre around 7.13, 7.14 and 7.15. I'm not clear as to why they're going down from a top age of 25 now to 21. We talk about the old service supporting young people up to the age of 25. Was that something we did over and beyond statutory requirements that we decided not to do anymore? I'd just like a little bit more explanation on that. And then in 7.14 we talk about 8 young parents, and 7.15 we talk about 7 young parents. Is that just those paragraphs being written at different times, or are they 7 different young parents in a different pathway? I'm just questioning that discrepancy. Thank you.
Maria, do you want to come back and respond to that, or do you want to take my comments first?
Whatever you prefer, Councillor.
Well, as I've got the mic now, I'll make my comments then. So you and I have talked about this in great detail, but I think it might be helpful if you set out for not just the members here, our colleagues in the room, but those that are watching virtually as well. Can you assure the committee that the revenue supplies will be able to provide the people and accommodation providers to deliver this service, especially as we're looking to stop the current spot purchase arrangements? And I know that we've discussed that in detail, but I think it's really helpful for other people to have that reassurance. And Councillor Kennedy touched on some of this in section 7.14 to 16, talking about the young parents, which are part of Block 1 and 4, which services will not be awarded, which Councillor Kennedy starts to touch on again. So can you please assure us that the future plans for these groups, what will happen when the contract expires in January 22. Now, I know that we have discussed this, but I think this is really critical around the questions that I asked you and you gave me, but I think a broad membership would appreciate those responses. Thank you. Thank you, Maria.
Councillor Bramble, could you repeat the first question you asked? I didn't quite capture it.
So the first one was, can you assure the committee, we discussed this before, can you hear me a bit better now? Is that better? Okay, I'll use my microphone. I'll use my teacher voice, Maria. So I know we've discussed this in great detail, but can you reassure everybody else with this today the commitment that the recommended supplier that will be able to provide the children and young people the accommodation delivered service, especially as we are looking to stop the current spot purchasing arrangements. And I know when you talk about stop doing spot purchases, that might fill some people with a level of concern. The word anxiety doesn't sit comfortably. I think that's too worrying, but definitely may fill people with concerns, and I know that I've asked you about it, so can you offer reassurance again? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll answer the questions in the order that I received them, and please do let me know if I missed something out. With the first question in relation to the age range, because these services are being predominantly commissioned and procured by Children and Family Service, and the Children and Family Service is requesting more places for care leavers specifically, the age range has been amended to be in line with our statutory offer for care leavers. So post 21, unless there's a disability or an additional need, we do not have a statutory responsibility to provide our care leavers with supported accommodation. Those young people that are aged between 21 and 25 will still be supported either through personal advisors in the Leaving Care Service, or if they're single homeless young people, through various supported accommodation pathways that are available through the greenhouse. The discrepancy that you note in the 7 and the 8 places is because currently there are 2 young parent services. So the 8 places that we have at the moment refer to the lot that was not procured, which we are committed to finding a solution for, and absolutely we do need in the future. The 7 places refers to a young parent service that we've assessed is not working, so it's very low support. They are assured short hold tenancies, there's no office on site, so it's just not working for our young parents. So what we're going to do after contract award, because we don't want to lose that property, is have further conversations with the provider to see how we can come up with a different use for the building, or whether we can increase the number of places in the existing from what we've awarded to meet our needs. Those young people that would have accessed that lower support young parent service will continue to be supported by housing, and if there is children's social care involvement, by the social work teams. But when we did our needs analysis, the majority of supported accommodation we need needs to be higher support with offices on site and staff 24 hours, which the 8 places will provide. Unfortunately, we're unable to replicate that model due to the restrictions of the physical building for the 7 places. Councillor Bramble, on to your questions. Of course, want to reassure everyone that we are going to be delivering a significantly better service. Our young people and our Children in Care Council have been involved in every stage of this procurement. The changes by including psychologically informed environments, we're really going to be focusing on the trauma that young people have experienced and supporting them to achieve whatever they want to achieve in the future. We have given very specific instructions to bring all of our accommodations to the same standard. So this includes including from what young people have said directly about how their rooms should be furnished, how the home should feel homely, what services they like, down to the requirements of staffing and what their ideal key worker looks like. With the lot that we have not awarded, by continuing the current contract, and after contract award we can have those conversations with the provider. I'm not able to have those conversations prior to the contract award. Though all those young people, the young parents specifically, that will be affected, will be supported if eligible to move on. So if they can't stay in the existing young parents service, maybe because they're ready to move on to more independent living, they'll be supported by housing and by children and family service, depending whether they're care leavers or not, to move on in a planned and safe way. And then we will move our young people from spot purchase arrangements as spaces become available in the new service, so that they have a seamless transition. And it will also mean that we can move a number of young parents who are currently living outside of Hackney but are open to Hackney closer to home. And I also circulated a note that because of the delay in the procurement, we're asking to extend the current service to allow us to have a sufficient mobilisation period with the successful providers. So we have moved the contract start date from the 1st of February to the 1st of April 2022. And there are very robust mobilisation and implementation plans being provided by all of the successful providers, which will ensure that all of our young people are supported throughout the service and not being made to move house around Christmas as well.
Just to clarify, Marie, you said April, I thought it was March. The 31st of the 3rd, 2022, is what I thought was in the email.
Sorry, apologies, that must have been a typo on my part. The contract start date, which is in the report, is the 1st of April 2022. Extending the services will be until the 31st of March 2022 to allow the new contracts to start the day after.
Okay, noted. All right, colleagues, so just to clarify, to agree to extend the existing service contract for a further period of, I think that would be the 3 months, wouldn't it? Because 2 months, but then it's to the 31st of the 4th, 2022.
Sorry, no. 31st of the 3rd.
It's
Starting 1st of the 4th.
1st of the 4th, okay. And to allow for a smooth transition to the new contractual arrangement. Is everybody clear? I hope. Yeah. That make it unclear for everyone. Okay, great. And I just want to advise there are exempt dependencies at item 14, and members will need to wait at the end of our meeting to discuss what's in the dependency. But otherwise, can we agree those recommendations as set out?
Agreed.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to item 8, and I'm going to ask, I think, Procedure, please correct me if I'm sure your name wrong, to present the next item.
I'm not sure it's on the clock.
They will play magic on the screen shortly.
I don't think he's here. No. Andrew, yeah, okay.
So we're going to look for another officer that might be able to report on item 8, otherwise I can.
Yeah.
So welcome, Andy. I'll hand over to you to introduce item 8.
Thanks very much, Chair. The council has invested significantly in its trees over many years, and this is a significant asset for the borough. In order to protect this asset, we need a robust method of maintaining it. However, we also have a duty to maintain these from a health and safety perspective, and also to protect the council from insurance claims through tree root damage and building substance. The current upcultural contract ends in January 2022. This is a framework contract with 3 suppliers with no guarantee of work. The contract has worked successfully, and it is proposed to procure a contract on a similar basis, but with 4 contractors to provide us with a more flexible and approach, and also additional capacity where we have peak in workloads. Following a competitive procurement process, this report seeks approval to appoint 4 contractors to provide day-to-day agricultural services, and these are listed in the report, but include general tree maintenance, tree felling, tree planting, emergency services, and also the ability to use the contractors for surveying. The street scene framework contract will deliver a contract that is focused on the sustainable procurement policy. So it will look to have or to seek local employment opportunities. It will have the minimum London living wage. It will seek to use SMEs. There is also a requirement that for one apprentice to be employed for the contract for every £1 million expenditure. And although the contracts are unlikely to hit that, there is a commitment to employ apprentices from each contractor. It'll be a contract that seeks to reduce construction waste for reuse and recycling where possible. It is also a practical solution which will allow the council to have a phased return to insourcing and enable the council to grow the in-house service provision. The duration of the framework will be a 4-year contract commencing in February 2022. The award of the contract will support a continued delivery of a high quality services and allow us to maintain and improve our tree resource. Accordingly, the recommendations of the report are that the award of the arboricultural maintenance and tree planting post-planting management framework contract to 4 bidders, as listed in Appendix 1, for a period of 4 years from the 1st of February 2022 to the 31st of January 2026. And also that the Cabinet Procurement and Insourcing Committee notes that, that whilst the report seeks to approve external agricultural services, as part of an phased insourcing programme, we will seek to move some of the work in-house, and that the early elements are likely to be within the next 18 to 24 months. And that will only proceed if it is viable to do so. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for presenting that. The agricultural maintenance tree planting planting management framework. I know I did say that just for those that may be listening but don't have the agenda in front of them. Council is very committed to our green spaces and very much with Council with the on my right hand, you know, whether it's in our parks, on our estates or on our streets. So it's good to hear this. I think if you could just unpick 2 things for me in terms of sustainability and council sustainability procurement, what has this potential contractor committed to or what are they going to commit to? And also, I couldn't see any KPIs or target setting. Can you hear me, Andy?
Very, very barely I can hear you. So you asked about you asked about sustainability and KPIs?
Yes, we're going to try to arrange them up. So yeah, so the first thing was, what's their commitment around council sustainability procurement? Is that wasn't clear? We're going to switch, like this is sort of like a blueprint. Blueprint for a moment. Here's one that I had earlier, just in case. Is that clearer?
No, sorry.
All right.
So in terms of sustainability, you know,
so what is their commitment to sustainability? There's no KPIs or targets. So what will their performance setting look like with this potential contract? So sustainability targets.
So in terms of sustainability, there are a number of commitments within the submissions that we've received, and that's about the types of plant that they use. They will try and use as much electrical. There's a commitment to using electrical plant rather than petrol-driven plant. The vehicles that they are using are proposed to be moving away from the older petrol and diesel vehicles, so that they are all Euro 6 compliant. The materials that they will use will be so say for tree planting and root deflectors, the materials that they use for those, that they are recycled materials. When they take branches off trees, you know, they are wood chipped up, and the materials are then reused within the parks and we've been doing that for a number of years. So there are a number of issues and processes that will be sustainable going forward, and we'll seek to continue that. In terms of KPIs, I think there are KPIs in the report. So in section 16.2, there are a number of KPIs which are set out. I don't know whether you want me to go into those in any further detail, but there's 8 of them.
No, that's fine. Do colleagues have any? Councillor Kennedy, then Councillor Woodley. Did you want to go first, Councillor Woodley?
I just wanted, it would be helpful, Chair, if Andy elaborated on the insourcing ambitions, particularly around the work that might give apprentices, because that might be interesting for people watching.
That would be really good. Councillor Kennedy, can I take your comment?
Thank you. Yes, so I just want us to tidy up the wording, please, of recommendation 3.2. If one try and understand that we have an ambition, quite rightly, to insource, and we think we can do some of the responsive work in-house within the next 18 to 24 months. That recommendation in the papers at 3.2 misses out some key words and doesn't quite say that, doesn't quite say anything. So we just need to agree to tidy it up. Because at the moment it says, as part of phased insourcing programme, some areas of responsibilities and elements of our horticultural operations are likely to be in 18 to 24 months. And I only can see if it is considered viable. So,
Is that the way to implement?
areas of responsibility, yes, be able to be insourced in 18 to 24 months. And we will only proceed if it is considered viable. Just tidying that up. And then
So within the exempt appendix, we have further information on how we would seek to undertake the insourcing, and that's looking to really try and take the low-hanging fruit, if I could use that terminology, as part of it. So looking at the work that is probably at a lower level, so it doesn't involve going up the trees. So this is something that we can manage and bring in on a phased approach, and it sets out 3 different phases of looking to bring it in-house, with the first lot something that we feel we could manage without having the same level of highly specialised trained workforce.
Thank you. Really helpful. So on that note, if colleagues do not have any more questions, can members note that there are exempt appendices items under item 15, and we're going to have to wait until the end of the public meeting to discuss those. And as set out, will members then agree the recommendations as set out in the report
With the
amendments? Agree?
agree.
Okay, let's move on to item. Thank you, Andy. Move on to item 9 on the agenda: provision of insurance services for legal leaseholders and rights to buy property. And we should have Michael appear on the screen. Do. Welcome, Michael.
Welcome, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to present this report. In all fairness, the report was issued last year to CPC at the time in November to award a contract for 3 + 2 years for leasehold builders insurers. That was successfully awarded. However, the incumbent insurer is withdrawing from the market, and hence why we're revisiting this so soon after that award. So this report relates to the procurement of leasehold buildings insurance. This is residential property units throughout the borough. The contract would need to be effective as of the 1st of April 2022 to ensure that there's a continuation of cover for those leaseholders who significantly rely on this cover for their financial protection, and also as the council relies on it for to meet our legal obligations through the lease. As I say, the incumbent insurer has withdrawn from the market. We've approached the market and found that the response was relatively healthy given the restricted local authority a number of providers, and ultimately come out with a recommendation to award to insurer A at a relatively small increase in the costs awarded last year. So we seek approval, we seek the committee's approval to award to insurer A, and to move forward to the consultation, second part of the consultation period with leaseholders to take place during December and January, being the notice of proposal.
Thank you. I just have one quick comment. Just how you seek to work with the suppliers if they're awarded a contract on social value benefit of this? Could you just elaborate on that a bit more?
Yeah, and to be fair, we've found this element challenging to be able to engage with the insurers, not their willingness to do it, but to include it as part of the evaluation process. We've worked with the three providers. We have a commitment with our contracted broker, a company called Marsh, to continue that dialogue with all of the insurance providers throughout the borough, including this. The intention and the commitment is to work with the awarded supplier through the mobilisation period. We want to promote the value of placements such as Hackney 100, which our service ourselves has benefited from in the past, and also work experience. We know that the Chartered Insurance Institute, which is the training and development arm of the industry, recognises that there's a skill shortage, and we believe that that should be leveraged for us to be able to provide some further commitment throughout the term of the contract from the insurers awarded, and from the wider benefit of the insurance market, to be able to promote the use of, the inclusion of residents and school leavers, or indeed school attendees to that process. Sorry, I will stop there because I believe that was a question in relation to the social value.
Thank you, Michael. That's really helpful. Do colleagues have any questions or queries? Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you. I was grateful for the appendix that detailed the questions that have come back from leaseholders, because obviously as this is a recharge, it's sort of really sliding a bit on how they stand out, as it were. But I wondered, could you elaborate a bit more on the response to question 5? Did we allow leaseholders to see, even in a redacted form, the tenders? That was question 5.
So, yeah, forgive me. Sorry, I'm just going to be looking to my right. The short answer is no. They wouldn't have seen the tender responses themselves. The range of perils, etc., are covered off in the notice of proposal. The notice of intention provides some further detail and FAQ in relation to that, but in terms of actually seeing the bids themselves, no, I'm afraid the leaseholders weren't party to that.
Because just it's too sensitive to be able to share, presumably.
Sorry, apologies, I didn't quite hear that.
Sorry, just all the information in there is just too sensitive to be able to share with them. It would have to be redacted, I suppose.
Sorry, yes, forgive me, it's a combination of that, absolutely. And I think even going back into that kind of the sustainability question in relation to that, we have to be acutely aware that this is what we're paying for. You've hit the nail in the head in relation to that, and that we're making a commitment on behalf of others. The issue would be, yes, absolutely, we would be providing commercially sensitive information to leaseholders who may very well have conflict of interest in that situation. So yeah, that is a key reason. We have explored in the past, but exhausted the opportunity of having a panel member on the evaluation, panel from the leaseholder kind of portfolio, and for that reason again was exhausted. We will continue to review that in case that provides a benefit in the past, and also do peer review into the value of actually adding a leaseholder onto that panel. But I'm afraid in these circumstances it wasn't deemed viable.
Thank you. I think we should consider carry on pursuing that possibility though and try and make that happen. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. So on that note, I want to advise there are exempt appendices in item 16, and members will have to wait until the end of the public meeting to move the exempt appendices, but we're proceeding to seek that point of clarification for the exempt appendices. But also following that, can we move the recommendations as set out in the report, and also ask the committee to note and agree the exempt information as detailed in item 16.
Agreed.
Thank you. Let's move on to item 10 then, the selection of a building contractor for the construction of mixed tenure housing at King's President. Thank you. And I'm going to invite Ron to speak to the item, who's now on screen. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you, Chair. The regeneration team is delighted to bring forward the final phases of King's Crescent for approval of the preferred bidders tender. This scheme forms part of an estate regeneration programme that uses a portfolio approach, using its combined development value to deliver genuinely affordable council housing. The scheme proceeds from 116 outright sale, 75 shared ownership homes, combined with surpluses from the first phases and GLA grant funding, will deliver 28 additional social rented homes, as well as contribute to the portfolio's development value. Uniquely within the estate regeneration programme, there is an external refurbishment element comprising of major works usually undertaken by the planned asset and maintenance programme. And there are significant improvements such as the installation of balconies and front gardens. The refurbishments of the 4 existing blocks concerned are intended to have a transformational effect and to ensure parity in design between existing and new homes. Before the tendering started, the first stage of a Section 20 consultation process with leaseholders regarding the external refurbishment works was completed. We extended the options for leaseholders by the council starting a process of using funds to buy back leasehold properties, enabling 6 family-sized homes to be brought back to social rent. The procurement process started in July of last year, and in line with the procurement strategy that was agreed by what was then CPC in 2019, a competitive procedure with negotiation route was used for the first time. It was a lengthy process, but the selected procurement route proved to be appropriate as it formalised a negotiation process. And the negotiation phase of the tender process provided the opportunity to conduct an effective value engineering exercise. We worked closely with colleagues from operational teams to evaluate the cost savings and the quality of the changes submitted by the bidders. The negotiation phase also enabled the revision of the council's fire strategy and the incorporation of building information modelling, which will facilitate the recording fire safety elements of all the components associated with that element of the buildings. The process has undoubtedly improved the quality of the scheme, and we also engaged resident representatives to assist the evaluation process and invited them to accompany us with our design team colleagues to visit examples of 2 comparable completed projects by each of the bidders. The final stage of the tendering process required bidders to submit their best and final offers. The results, as you can see, were extremely close, but tenderers revised their quality proposals and each improved their scores. The financial offer reflect the most recent construction market conditions, which saw a huge increase in tender price inflation. Once constructed, the scheme will offer a number of benefits, including the delivery of the council's sustainability objectives. The implementation of the energy strategy will achieve a 36.5% reduction in carbon dioxide emissions compared to building regulation standards. Its implementation will entail the efficient supply of energy by a link up with the existing statewide combined heat and power plant, which was constructed under the first phases of the regeneration. In turn, the statewide network will enable the option to link up with district heat networks nearby that might be developed. So there are networks potentially in Stoke Newton and Islington that will facilitate this. The scheme also uses renewable energy sources such as photovoltaic panels and air source heat pumps. The council's sustainability standards are also exceeded by specific measures to adapt to climate change. The design of the sustainable urban drainage system includes rainwater harvesting, rain gardens, permeable paving, green and blue roofs, and integrates them within the landscape design to further reduce surface water runoff rates and increase the biodiversity of the site. In terms of employment and skills, there are a number of benefits with the offer of the preferred bidder. They've calculated their financial offer for employment, training, apprentices and state-based social value to around £800,000. Their proposal is to coordinate work between their training organisation partner, the primary subcontractors that they use, and the council to attain a minimum 30% local labour target, 40 apprenticeships, and 20 paid work placements, amongst others. There's also a social value offer that includes funding a social enterprise that aims to deliver community health and well-being, a community health and well-being project. In summary, the preferred bidder has an excellent track record of delivery of similar multi-phase regeneration projects, working in proximity to existing homes, and it has demonstrated it has excellent strategies to deliver the scheme, mitigating the risks and constraints that have been identified. I'll take any questions.
Just to thank you and just welcome this, because I know that as a council and as politicians, we constantly look at ways to think about how we build much needed council homes and the lack of government funding. So really welcome this piece of work. Thank you and colleagues that have been working on this. I think that given that the council has adopted its zero net energy strategy earlier this year and be net zero by 2040, it'd be really good to understand how this developer would deliver that, just in terms of their delivery model and in terms of their homes.
Well, we are complying with the planning policy that was consented by the council and the GLA, which does include some carbon offset payments, and we are seeking that as the requirement to achieve the energy and sustainability strategy. So that's the main outcome of implementing the energy strategy.
Thank you. Do colleagues have any questions of this? Councillor Woodley.
Any assurances around the timetable set out in 9.1.5? I know there are many challenges to get supplies to contractors on the ground. I just wondered what mitigations to be in place in setting out this timeline for next summer.
I must apologise. I caught some of that, so it's obviously regarding the programme because it's 9.1.5.
Councillor Woodley just going to use her microphone.
I'll adopt the teacher's voice as set by Councillor Bramble. It was really just seeking a little bit of assurance about the timetable for next summer, summer 22 in 9.1.5. I'm just that we're struggling with supplies and obtaining materials, and I assume that's all taken into account, but I just wanted to sense check.
We're making every effort to adhere to that programme. On the critical path of that programme is the stage 2 of the section 20 process, and that's got to be satisfactorily completed before we sign contracts. The preferred bidder is raring to go and is gearing up, however, and upon confirmation of that and the standstill period being completed, they would very much be geared up to undertake investigations, and then we would work with colleagues in planning to ensure that the pre-commencement obligations are approved as soon as possible, as soon as they can be within, and meeting the contractor's programme. So there is obviously a statutory period by which we expect the pre-commencement conditions to be considered and reviewed, but we will work closely with planning colleagues to ensure that they can enable a start on site as soon as possible after those pre-commencement conditions have been approved, thereby hopefully meeting the targets. Everything else, it's very much in everyone's interest for the contractor to get going, given the price is only open for a limited period.
Thank you, Ron. So on that note, I would just want to advise that our exams policies are 1917 members, and we'll wait until the end of the public meeting to move to the exempt part proceedings to seek clarification on those exempt policies. And can we just move the recommendations as stated in the report, and also ask you to note and read the exempt information as detailed in item 17. Great. Thank you. On to item 11, the other unrestricted business. As described as urgent, there has been none. On to item 12, which is the next meeting, which is January 17th, 14th of February, 7th of March, 11th of April. As set out, is that great? Noted. So before I close the meeting, it's definitely a Merry Christmas and wishing you all a great Christmas with your families, loved ones, or for yourself if you choose to do that as well. And all things being well, wish to see you all safely in the new year. So do take care. Item 13 now is to exclude the press and the public.